Prime Minister in New Delhi to attend G-20 summit. Stage all set for G-20 summit in New Delhi tomorrow. Uranium for Rupur plant to be sent next month, says Lavrov. Those were the headlines. This is ATN News. Good evening, viewers. I'm Shahzan Ehsan with English Bulletin. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is now in New Delhi to attend G20 summit that is all set to begin from Saturday. Earlier, the Prime Minister and her entourage left on flight of Biman Bangladesh Airlines at 11:15 a.m. The Prime Minister will hold a bilateral meeting with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the afternoon. The two Prime Ministers will sign 3 Memorandum of Understanding on transaction in Taka and Rupee and cultural and agricultural exchange program. Besides, several power plants and railway projects will be inaugurated. The Prime Minister will talk about climate change, COVID pandemic and commodity transportation issue in her address in the G20 summit. She will also hold meeting with the top leaders from Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Arab Emirates and Canada on the sidelines of the summit. The G20 summit will be held tomorrow in New Delhi. State and government heads of various countries, including US President Joe Biden, are going to attend the 2-day summit. Sustainable development is the key topic of this year's summit. Besides, the Ukraine-Russia situation will also be highlighted in the discussion of the summit. Indian media NDTV says after arriving in India, Biden is scheduled to have a bilateral meeting with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. He is expected to discuss clean energy transition and climate change at the summit. Britain's Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has reached New Delhi to attend the summit. It is his first official trip to India. Premier Li Qiang will lead China's delegation. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is also in New Delhi to attend the G20 summit. French President Emmanuel Macron will also attend the G20 summit and hold a bilateral meeting with Modi. India has invited 9 countries, including Bangladesh, as guests in this conference. Russia will send uranium for Rupur nuclear power plant in the first week of the next month. The Foreign Minister of the country made the commitment while paying a courtesy call on Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina at Ganabhavan on the second day of his Bangladesh tour on Friday. The Prime Minister told the Russian Foreign Minister to find a peaceful solution to end the war with Ukraine, mentioning the war is affecting developing countries of the world. Later, Lavrov paid homage to Bangabandhu's portrait in Dhanmondi Road number 32. He also went around different corners of Bangabandhu Museum and signed the visitor's book. Later, he went to Russian embassy in Gulshan to meet the Bangladeshi students studying in Russia. The Russian Foreign Minister left Dhaka for Delhi in the afternoon to attend the G20 summit. The US and European Union are hatching conspiracy to oust the government and bring unconstitutional, abnormal government in the country for their geopolitical interest. Jatiyo Samajtantrik Dol President Hasanul Haq Inu made the remark at the 5th National Committee meeting of the party at the Central Office on Friday. He said, violating diplomatic norms shamelessly, they are trying to put the government under pressure. BNP and Jamaat are getting direct benefit of such attempts. That is why the opposition parties have become desperate to oust the government and bring unconstitutional government in power before the polls. Terming world leaders' statement in favor of Dr. Yunus a blatant interference in the judiciary, the JSD leader said it is nothing but a distorted politics of US and EU. Bangladesh is now being used as a field of war of pride of the powerful nations. BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir made the remark at a brief rally prior to a procession at party central office in capital Noapoldon on Friday. Referring to Russian Foreign Minister's Bangladesh tour, the BNP leader said the statement of Lavrov proves that Bangladesh is now being used as a passage for such war of powerful nations. This will create a devastating situation. Blaming Awami League for such thing, the BNP Secretary General made the apprehension of a catastrophic situation centering national polls. Although more than 70 countries around the world are experiencing outbreak of dengue, Bangladesh stands first in death rate. According to World Health Organization, 55% dengue patients who were admitted to hospitals up to August 31 died within 24 hours of admission. 81% died within 3 days of hospital admission. Experts think such huge number of dengue deaths are occurring due to failure in taking treatment on time and delay in diagnosing the disease. Dengue-related complications is much higher this year than that of previous years. Authority of Institute of Epidemiology, Disease Control and Research said it is to know fully how much dengue has changed its pattern due to serotype infection. One will have to wait till the death review is done. Now a short break. We'll be back soon with 64 killed in 2 separate attacks in Mali. Boycott in ICC umpiring panel for World Cup. You're watching ATN News. This is English Bulletin. 10% literacy in the country will be ensured before 2030. State Minister for Primary and Mass Education Zakir Hussain made the remark at a meeting marking International Literacy Day at the Bureau of Non-Formal Education in capital's Mohakali on Friday. He said dropout rate of primary students and lacking in the merit has increased due to COVID pandemic. However, success of Digital Bangladesh has been able to lessen that lacking. This year, observance of International Literacy Day is taking place with the slogan, expansion of literacy needed to create a diversified, peaceful society, he added. Now news from around the world. At least 64 people, including soldiers, were killed in 2 separate armed group attacks in northeastern Mali. Confirming the casualties, the country's national television said no group has yet claimed responsibility for the attack. The 2 separate armed forces attacks targeted the Timbuktu boat on the Niger River and an army installation in the Gao region. 49 civilians and 15 soldiers have been killed, according to a government statement. About 50 assailants also got killed. At least 3 rockets had targeted the vessel, aiming at its engines. The vessel became stranded in the waterway, unable to move. Army officials led an evacuation effort to help passengers to shore. A separate attack targeted an army installation further east in the Borum Circle, caused several casualties. Mali's interim government has declared 3 days of national mourning.
Were taking direct bullets. It's not clear whether these men are civilians or the enemy.
Hong Kong and southern Chinese cities are battling widespread flooding as the region endures some of its heaviest rainfall on record. The heaviest downpours in decades is causing widespread flooding, closing schools and other institutions, suspending border cargo services and disrupting road and rail traffic. Weather Bureau said the downpour began on Thursday, is the biggest ever to hit the city in nearly 140 years. Basically, this comes less than a week after 2 typhoons, Saola and Haikui, hit southern China in quick succession and sparked a citywide shutdown in Hong Kong. Authorities said at least 83 flood-affected people were hospitalized in 24 hours. Some roads are closed due to landslides. A black rainstorm signal was issued on Thursday night, a warning triggered by rainfall exceeding 70 mm an hour. Heavy rain also drenched southern China's Shenzhen city across the border from Hong Kong, reporting its biggest ever rain since 1952. Ukraine claims success in counter-offensive to recapture Russian-held territory. Russian forces retreated in the campaign to the east and south. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces described a partial success near the eastern city of Bakhmut, long a focal point of fighting. It said Ukrainian troops were making gradual progress in the southward advance to the Sea of Azov. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, in his nightly video addressed on Thursday, provided few details of the operations. He thanked the soldiers for very effective results in destroying the occupiers. Also added results are precisely what Ukraine needs now from everyone. Meanwhile, Russia claims that its forces have repelled Ukrainian attacks near Bakhmut.
Meanwhile, the United States on Monday announced that it would send Ukraine new security assistance valued at $200 million.
Now, sports news. Already known in the cricketing arena for his quality umpiring, Sharifuddollah Ibn Shoykot has now achieved a rare feat of representing Bangladesh as the umpire in the forthcoming World Cup in India. He is the first ever Bangladeshi who has found his place in the umpiring panel for World Cup. ICC has announced a 16-member panel for World Cup. There are 12 umpires in the elite panel and 4 in the emerging panel. Shoykot is one of the 4 in emerging panel. ICC declared panel will do the umpiring in the World Cup matches of the World Cup that is set to begin from October 5. However, ICC is yet to announce the name of the officials for the semi-final and final matches of the World Cup. Before ending the bulletin, the top stories once again. Prime Minister in New Delhi to attend G-20 summit. Stage all set for G-20 summit in New Delhi tomorrow. Uranium for Rupu plant to be sent next month, says Lavrov. 64 killed in 2 separate attacks in Mali. And Shoykot in ICC umpiring panel for World Cup. That's all from the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for being with us.